Good morning. Excited to be here. Thank you guys. Thank you AIS for giving us the opportunity to present. I'll do my best to stick within a short time frame and get through things. Before we get going, forward-looking statements. We are a public company, so please take note. Everything that I say, you should probably go back and look at our filings with the SEC. Who is RVL? So RVL Pharmaceuticals is born out of a long history, but effectively today we have now become a purpose-built ocular aesthetics business designed around our lead commercial asset, UPNEEQ, in both the aesthetic and the eye care channels. UPNEEQ is the first and only FDA-approved treatment for acquired blepharoptosis, more commonly known as low-lying eyelids, a common condition that we believe, and I think we're starting to see this as the market builds, impacts a significant number of potential patients here in the United States. We've also embarked on a global partnership with Santen Pharmaceuticals, one of the largest global eye care companies in the world, based out of Japan, and we're excited about the progress that they're making from a development standpoint in markets like Japan, China, EU, and a number of countries in between. We have built this business specifically for the medical aesthetic model. This is a cash pay business, self-pay business, but interestingly, and I think quite unique, we have built our own integrated pharmacy. And so what that does is it gives us full control over everything related to this asset, from the patient experience to the pricing and everything in between. I think it also opens up markets like New York and Texas, where physicians don't have the ability to dispense products directly to their patients. They can partner and leverage our pharmacy as a distribution partner. And then lastly and importantly, a strong IP estate that gives us protection for many, many years to come. And we're excited about the window of time we have to build this market. What are low-lying lids? Quite simply, and I think one of the easiest ways to think about it is if you look around the room as you're talking to friends, colleagues, and meeting people today, when you look at the eyes, can you see the iris? Can you see the full sphere of color in somebody's eyes? Or is there some impact from where the lid sits relative to the iris? It affects everything from appearance to psychosocial and quality of life. And it does escalate to a point where it's functionally impairing from a visual field standpoint, and that is the backdrop of the FDA approval and the clinical development process that we went through was an improvement in visual field. So we believe this is a significant opportunity. I think when you look at and think about ptosis historically, maybe a condition of the geriatric population, about 500,000 blepharoplasty with lid resection annually, obviously a small number, but still also presents as a function of neuromodulator injection. But underneath this, and I think this is where the awareness, the education, and some of the things that we're looking to do as we enter the medical aesthetic market and build this product, is patients self-identify as ptotic. But it's not something, given the lack of treatment options historically, that they really think about. And I think the same can be said for physicians. So it's our job as we build this market to educate and get people motivated to not just look at themselves, identify, and go into an office, but also change behavior in an office in a simple way when it comes to facial aesthetics, now that you can add a simple solution to that process for your facial aesthetic patient in a non-invasive, minimally invasive way. And importantly, when you think about unmet need, and this is a busy slide, but the point is our eyes bother us. It's a central area of focus as individuals, how we see others and how we see ourselves. And when we went out to a group of 10,000 women between the ages of 20 and 70 years old, and we look at a subset of those who were using cosmetic neuromodulators or other aesthetic treatment services, about 60% of those patients not only self-identified, but were bothered by the appearance of their lid. And I think, interestingly, 38% of those that self-identified as not having a low-lying lid were still bothered by the appearance of their eye. And I think that speaks to the emotional aspect of the importance of eyes and what we want to do as individuals to improve the appearance of our eyes and feel good about the way they look. So what is Upneeq? Quite simply, it's a once daily eye drop that delivers on average in our clinical studies about 1 millimeter of lift to the upper eyelid. It's fast acting. We've seen an impact as early as 5 minutes. You start to see that increasing lid lift over the course of about 2 hours, and then it stays there and lasts about 8 to 10 hours before the lid begins to revert back to its original baseline position. Rinse, cycle, repeat day after day. It was safe and well tolerated in our clinical programs, and it is a preservative-free solution that's delivered in a single blow-fill-seal unit dose device. It acts at Mueller's muscle as an alpha-adrenergic receptor agonist with about a 5-fold greater affinity for the A2 receptors. The Mueller muscle is the inferior muscle in the upper eyelid that is responsible for some level of lifting. And over time, that muscle weakens, stretches, and it gives us an opportunity to stimulate that muscle and raise the lid. And I think this is one where you really have to see it to believe it. So the launch, everything we've done has been very deliberate. I talked about the business model that we've created. We spent about 1.5 years in the eye care space addressing acceptability, tolerance, efficacy, learning everything and anything that we didn't learn from a clinical program perspective, and about 2.5 months ago began our launch into the medical aesthetic space, which is where we are today. And I think as we move forward, you're going to see an increasing number of medical aesthetic practices carrying this product, an increasing effort on our end to educate both providers and patients, and certainly consumer investments aimed at tapping into this large potential patient population.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was quick.